Hey everybody, welcome back to my channel. It's Geo. Today I wanted to do something a little bit different, and this is something that I am kind of dreading doing as well. I have been professionally casting for over 2 years at this point, and a lot of that is involved in games outside of Rainbow Six, but last year I moved into Rainbow Six on a full-time basis and obviously started off in the European League. Now, it was a new experience for me, and even though I had a ton of experience casting, I didn't have loads of experience casting Rainbow Six, and I certainly had a lot more to learn about the game. And one thing that I thought could be kind of fun/funny is to go back and watch some of my very first EU League cast, which was, I remember, Team Empire versus Virtus Pro on Playday number 1. It was the first game of any of the new leagues, and I was shitting myself. I know that looking back, it's going to be really embarrassing to watch. It's going to be really difficult because I sucked. But I thought it could be something that's kind of funny now that it's such a long time ago at this point, and it's not something that I'm going to judge my current casting on whatsoever. So let's go. So it was Happen Me casting, which is something that we have not done much of together and never had at this point. Actually, let's skip the operator picks and bans because that's boring. Let's go straight into round number 1.
There we go, Emision going down straight away. That's going to be pretty dangerous there for Virtus Pro, as they are a team who like to make quick plants and they like to protect Emision when he is doing that. Team Empire know exactly that is the way they like to play, and having got rid of him early should give them the advantage in this fight so far.
See, at this point, I actually don't disagree with what I've said so far, but I would really like to have spoken a bit about how Virtus Pro needed to apply more pressure into the downstairs. Because it's like, yeah, Team Empire, they want to get those early picks, and the mission's really useful for Virtus Pro. It's like, yeah, great. What should Virtus Pro have done about that? This is something that I think is actually going to be a big thing that I notice, is that my ability to actually explain why something is happening or what a team should have done will probably be incredibly weak.
We need to get some more information about where the players are actually
like,
located at as
bro, clear out fucking lounge, dude!
Player in launch, spotted him on his drone, wasn't able to actually get the kill in return.
This is the whole problem.
The construction wall is able to be open, which means these key channels have been opened here by Virtus Pro. Trades going in and out so far.
No. Okay. It's kind of irritating because it's so obvious that the problem is that there are these players downstairs that haven't been touched, and it's like, well, you know, Virtus Pro, this is what they're trying to do, and they're trying to open up the floor, and look, now they're opening the construction wall, but Joystick's still downstairs. Yeah, Joystick is still downstairs. I wonder if maybe that was the problem. It's not he can provide a little bit of a threat. It is get the fuck rid of him. Yeah, one thing I will say about it is the actual casting itself was not terrible. And yeah, I am not the best at driving hype, but that is because I came in as someone who'd only ever color casted, and Rainbow Six is a lot more hybrid than that. And that was something that I needed to kind of learn. But the fundamental, yeah, there is that, like, I understand where threats are coming from, but I'm not saying this is what Virtus Pro need to be doing. The fact that this issue hasn't been dealt with is why they're losing this round. And obviously, I was totally aware that these were things that I was going to have to learn as time went on. But it is so obvious to me now. Like, come on, Geo.
Yeah, and as you say, they are going to have to be aware of not only Joystick, not only those roamers, but also Shepard. They've been very used to, thus far, having to look out for Joystick.
See, again, here, I say they have to watch out for the roamers. No one on Empire is roaming. They're all downstairs. And that's actually kind of notable, and I should have mentioned that. It's like, yeah, not only looking out for those roamers. Oh, yeah, he's roaming really far off site in blue.
Constantly trying to hold onto these angles, but he could end up being shot in the back. Shockwave waiting patiently. There is still time for Virtus Pro to move on in. Shepard,
see, like,
gets Pasha.
Get excited!
Gonna be enough time for him to even
you got Pasha, dude.
I don't think so. This looks like Virtus Pro.
See, that was like... That was really, like, sucky, because it was like, Shepard got the 2K, which was great, and that was exciting, and I didn't make it sound as exciting as it was, but he did run over the 7-second mark. So I understand that, like, in my head, I was like, should I be hyping this up? Because, like, he literally can't defuse. but I kind of just stopped talking. Like,
They have, however, opened up tons of vertical angles right here, especially in the hallway. Possibly
oh, come on.
doesn't help the effect itself there, Shockwave, but he also said
Virtus Pro have had a
that
real
the
hard
same
time getting rid of
success
shields in this
down
game.
there.
Something I've noticed.
But WTG starting to turn things around a little bit, as always does be the next to fall, but there's only 2 members of Virtus Pro left. The plant hasn't been made, and there's 16 seconds remaining. They're not.
I would also love to hear myself say, and I know that I'm not going to say this, but I'm pretty sure that Virtus Pro haven't got rid of the Evil Eyes. The Evil Eyes a couple of rounds ago were up really late as well, and they were carrying 4 nades, so they weren't paying, they weren't using the lifelines for that. I mean, in this round, we already saw that Shockwave tried to use the lifelines on the shield and failed. But they weren't using the lifelines for that. So they were bringing the nades, but they just had a nade thrown into an ADS. Emission's the only one with nades who's even still alive. I'm pretty sure both those Evil Eyes are still up, unless I've missed something watching this round. So I would love to hear myself say that. I won't, but I'd love to hear myself say it.
Not even on the correct floor, and they know that they're going to have to jump down if they are to.
Yeah, look, there's one. He's right there. He's still there, dude.
Pretty hopeless here for WTG. All he can hope to get is a kill, but
Like the information.
it's gonna hold the angle behind him. Players.
This was another thing, right? Again, and I don't blame myself for it. I'm not mad at myself for it. I don't think low of myself for it, because I knew that coming into Siege would be a learning curve, and a lot of people don't realize is it was the exact fucking same when I started casting Overwatch as well. And that is that I'm focusing a lot on the kills that are happening at the end of the round, because I haven't fully formed my idea of win conditions and like what actually needs to be happening. And I sort of have an idea about positioning, because that was always something I had a decent intuition for, but I hadn't built everything up around that. So there's only so much that I could say in these late round moments. So whereas I'm looking at it now and I'm like, well, here's utility that's probably still up, and here's how they've used utility so far, and this is what they have to get rid of, or they have to do in order to push down, and blah, 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 blah. Those aren't really thought processes that I had before. And I'm not like mad at myself for it. I'm not, because it's perfectly normal. Like, you start at that point. But it's just interesting to see that the way I'm looking back at this now is different, because I haven't watched this VOD back before.
He's ready. You see that?
Like, all of Virtus Pro is on this side of the map.
Go through.
Okay. But are we going to see? They're just waiting. And look,
See this? I'm just like, we're just waiting. It's like, because I don't have something to add. But I'm pretty sure all 5 of them are on this side of the map, although I don't know where Shockwave is. None of them are focusing any attention over to the east side. That's relevant. That's something to bring up. You can see the power position that Always has, because he's behind bathroom. He's got the wall above open, and he's a mute, so he's going to be carrying a C4, so he'll be able to throw that over. If you're trying to, you've got Dan at the end of the fucking hallway. If you're trying to like funnel all of your players through, I mean, they're obviously not going to do that, but they might lose all their drones if they're just sitting there droning, and joysticks below as well. So if you're going to try and run into Jim or something, for example, from here, I don't know, man. Evil Eye, once again, not being dealt with. Okay, it's gonna throw a nade.
The grenade will make sure that the player will be taken care of. But leading into that last minute is going to be Virtus Pro. Be losing their life shortly. Is that
why aren't Virtus Pro doing any kind of a clear? Look at this. Emission literally can't do anything. You can't get on Jim or Master because you haven't cleared out the guy who's in CCTV. He can hold the server window. Oh, I wish I had been able to talk about this at the time.
Managed to get the down onto Always to start.
Bro, what was that round? And there is so much that you can talk about with that as well.
Absolute brutal punishment.
Yeah, brutal punishment watching this fucking cast. I feel kind of bad saying that, because I want to point out I'm allowed to say this because I'm making fun of like my own improvement. All of the people out there who are going to turn around and be like, yeah, listening to you cast is brutal punishment, shut the fuck up. You're not allowed to say that. Only I am.
First Oryx to come in competitive play right here.
Yeah.
I'm just like, yeah, yeah, it is cool, isn't it? Pasha's gonna get taken out before he can even do a fucking late flank on Oryx, isn't he? Yeah, Pasha got killed. Got killed before he got to do the late flank.
Once again, this is that really scary player who we
Yeah,
were
but-
looking.
Right in this one, as they taught 7-1, 7-3, something like.
Okay, luckily I wasn't doing the very end of the cast, as I think I would have totally butchered it. That was a very interesting experience to watch back on, because again, it's not that everything was terrible, it's not that I didn't know how to cast, and to be honest, that was always something that kind of annoyed me, is people being like, she doesn't know how to cast, and it's like, that's not true. But there were definitely things that needed improvement, and I think I have made a ton of improvements on those things. In terms of technical casting ability, being able to hype up moments and do play-by-play, and you know, I'd, as I said, only ever been a color caster, that was naturally going to be something that I would have to learn in practice. But just, yeah, having the intuition for things that were going on in the round. Like, there were things that just watching back are really obvious to me now, and I'm like, oh, I would love to hear me talk about this, or this is what I would talk about now. And still not, you know that that wasn't there for me at the time. It's not something to look back on and be like, wow, yeah, I was really stupid. I didn't deserve to be on EUL. Those few accounts on Reddit were right. It's not that. It's not that at all. I always knew that learning in practice was always the best way for me to learn. It's happened with every single game that I've casted. But it is very interesting to look back and actually see how significant that difference is between then and now, because you don't really think about it like that, especially over this long a period of time. So that was enlightening, and I wasn't looking forward to doing it because I was like, this is going to be too hard. It's going to be cringy. It wasn't as cringy as I thought it would be, but there were some glaring flaws that I'm glad that I've worked a lot on, and I know that from the basis that I am at now, the things that I will work on will just continue to make me better, and that's a really exciting prospect for me. But I hope you guys enjoyed that video and taking a little look down memory lane. Let me know what you thought, and I will see you guys very soon. Goodbye.